welcome to Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin, and today I'll be discussing Mutiny on the Bounty from 1935. Some essential movie details: Clark Gable had to shave his iconic mustache for this film. Another detail: this film, as of now, is the last Best Picture winner that did not win in any other category. Alright, and so now we'll get into my thoughts on the film itself. The plot, I gave it a 5 out of 5. I thought it was great. I love the progression of the storyline, especially when the sailors, they finally get justice at the end, because throughout the whole film, their captain, played by Charles Lofton, he was constantly whipping them, having other soldiers, or I guess officers, whip them. He was very tyrannical, very evil, and so I love that progression where, the whole time we're like, oh man, I hope they can get their justice, and they finally did, and it was amazing. So it was a great plot. Love the progression and the characters, and that kind of leads into acting. I also gave that a 5 out of 5. I thought it was great. Clark Gable, he's amazing in his role. Pretty much every film I've seen him in, he's been fantastic, and this is no exception. Even mustacheless, he's still really, really awesome. But no movie is good if it doesn't have a good villain, and this movie has a great villain. I think Charles Lofton is perfect in this role. He plays the very sophisticated and arrogant British officer really, really well, really exceptionally. And he was very tyrannical, like I said, and he was fantastic. And then some of the other side characters I thought were great too. None that I could really think of at the moment that really stood out, but yeah, Charles Lofton and Clark Gable were really, really excellent together. Alright, in regards to the directing, I also gave it a 5 out of 5. I think Frank Lloyd really hit it out of the ballpark with this one. It was fantastic. He had a great cast, great sets that were built. All around, he did an amazing job, and he really had a good, keen eye of how this film could be successful. I really, really liked what he did with it. There were no terrible actors, really, because you could really point to the director and his direction, to see if it really is a good film or not. And this was an exceptionally well done film. So yeah, I give huge kudos and props to him. Alright, in regards to cinematography and special effects, I also gave this a 5 out of 5. I thought it was incredible. The set piece for the ship was fantastic. It was amazing. It really blew me away. I mean, there's some scenes you could tell it's a little model, but other scenes, it looks like a real ship, and I think they did use a real one in some of the scenes. So it was really, really expertly done, the transition between the two. I also like the island scenes. It really looked like they were on a tropical island. Again, I don't know if they used a real one or not. If they did, it was probably like Catalina or something like that, but definitely not in the Pacific. But it was really realistic too. I really, really liked it. And yeah, giving credit again to the director, Frank Lloyd. He was incredible. And I haven't seen any of his other films. So this is my first time watching one of his, and the cinematography was just outstanding. Alright, now I'm going to lessen the points a little bit for this next one. So the music, I only give it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was good, but I think it could have been used more. I don't know. I think I'm just used to maybe musicals. I don't know. But I feel like this movie could have used a lot more dramatic music. But the reason why I don't give it any lower is a lot of movies in this era, especially the mid-30s, this came out in 35, they didn't utilize the score as much as we do now, so a lot of emphasis was put on the actors and their acting abilities, which is fine. I just wish there was more music. I think there were some dramatic moments, especially in the court scene, that would have been elevated even more if there was more music. But it wasn't terrible. Alright, so tallying that all up, that brings my Letterboxd score to a 4.8 out of 5, which I'm rounding to a 5 out of 5. So, would I recommend this movie? Absolutely. I think it's an awesome movie. It's got a great cast, great set pieces, great drama, great everything all around. And even the music, even though I didn't like it as much, wish there was more of, it was still good too. So yeah, I highly recommend this movie, especially if you like courtroom dramas. It has a scene of that at the end of it. So if you just like seeing movies where there's a court scene or something like that, you'll really, really like this movie. If you're a fan of like Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that, this kind of has that feeling on it too, especially a Dead Man's Chest. All right, well, thank you all so much for listening to today's episode. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Really Old Movies, where I discuss details about the week's particular film. New podcast episodes are released Saturdays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. All right, thank you so much. This has been Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin. Take care.